And he became feverish and lamenting his death, and said that a cruel beast has eaten Joseph. And all of the men of his house lamented with him on that day. And it happened, as they were mourning and lamenting with him all of that day, that his sons and his daughter rose up to comfort him. But he was not comforted concerning his son. And on that day Bilhah heard that Joseph had perished, and she died while mourning for him. And she was dwelling in Kaphrateph. And Dinah his daughter also died after Joseph perished. And these three lamentations came upon Israel in a single month. And they buried Bilhah opposite the tomb of Rachel. And they also buried Dinah his daughter there. And it happened, as they lamented for Joseph 1 year, that he was not consoled, but he said, I will go down to the grave lamenting for my son. Therefore it is decreed for the children of Israel that they mourn on the 10th day of the 7th month, and on the day when that which caused him to weep for Joseph came to Jacob his father, so that they might atone for themselves with a young kid on the 10th day of the 7th month, once a year on account of their sin, because they caused the affection of their father to grieve for Joseph his son. And this day is decreed so that they might mourn on it, on account of their sins, and on account of their transgressions, and on account of all their errors, in order to purify themselves on this day once a year. And after Joseph perished, the sons of Jacob took wives for themselves. The name of the wife of Reuben was Adah, and the name of the wife of Simeon was Adibah, a Canaanite. And the name of the wife of Levi was Milcah, from the daughters of Aram, from the seed of the sons of Terah. And the name of the wife of Judah was Betasuel, a Canaanite. And the name of the wife of Issachar was Hesakah. And the name of the wife of Zebulun was Neeman. And the name of the wife of Dan was Eglah. And the name of the wife of Naphtali was Rasu'u, who was a Mesopotamian. And the name of the wife of Gad was Makkah. And the name of the wife of Asher was Ionah. And the name of the wife of Joseph was Asenath, an Egyptian. And the name of the wife of Benjamin was Iyasaka. And Simeon repented and took another wife from Mesopotamia, as his brothers had. And in the first year of the first week, in this 45th Jubilee, Rebekah called to Jacob her son, and she commanded him with regard to his father and brother that he should honor them all the days of Jacob's life. And Jacob said, I will do everything just as you have commanded me, because this thing is an honor and a greatness for me, and a righteousness for me before the Lord, that I should honor them. And you, mother, know from this day, the day I was born, until this day, all of my deeds and everything which is in my heart, that I always think of good for everyone. And why would I not do this thing which you have commanded me, that I should honor my father and my brother? Tell me, mother, what perversity you have seen against me, and I will withdraw from it, and mercy will be upon me. And she said, My son, all my days I have never seen against you anything perverse, but only uprightness. But I will rightly tell you, my son, that I shall die within this year, and I shall not pass through this year alive, because I have seen in a dream the day of my death, and I shall not live more than 155 years. And behold, I have completed all the days of my life which I will live. And Jacob laughed about his mother's words, because his mother said that she would die. But she was sitting opposite him, and her strength was in her, and she was not suffering loss of strength, because she was coming and going, and seeing clearly, and her teeth were sound, and no disease had touched her all the days of her life. And Jacob said, I would be happy, mother, if my days approached the days of your life, and my powers were thus in me as your powers. And you will not die, because you have spoken to me in idle jest concerning your death. And she went in to Isaac, and she said to him, One request I beg of you, make Esau swear that he will not harm Jacob, and I will not pursue him hostilely, because you know Esau's inclination, that it has been evil since his youth, and there is no goodness in him, because he wants to kill him after your death. And you know everything that he has done from the day that Jacob his brother traveled to Haran until this day, that he abandoned us with all his heart and did evil with us. He gathered your flocks and robbed all of your possessions before your face. And while we were begging and asking for what was ours, he acted like a man who was taking pity on us. And he is bitter against you because you blessed Jacob. your perfect and upright son, because he has no evil, but only goodness. And since he came from Haran until this day, he has not been depriving us of anything, for he has always been bringing us everything in its season. And he rejoices with his whole heart whenever we accept anything from his hand. And he has been blessing us, and has not separated from us since he came from Haran until this day. But he has been dwelling with us continually at home, honoring us. And Isaac said to her, I know and see the deeds of Jacob, who was with us, and with all his heart he is honoring us. And I first loved Esau more than Jacob, because he was born first. And now I love Jacob more than Esau, because he has increasingly made his deeds evil. And he has no righteousness, because all of his ways are injustice and violence. And he has no righteousness around him. And now my heart is vexed on account of all his deeds. And neither he nor his seed is to be saved, for they will be destroyed from the earth, and they will be uprooted from under the heavens, since he has forsaken the God of Abraham, and he has gone after his wives and their defilement, and after their errors, both he and his sons. And you say to me that I should make him swear that he will not kill his brother Jacob? If he swears, he will not abide by his oath, and he will not do goodness, but only evil. But if he wishes to kill Jacob his brother, he will be given into the hand of Jacob, and he will not escape from his hand, because he will fall into his hand. And you should not fear on account of Jacob, because the protector of Jacob is greater and mightier and more honored and praised than the protector of Esau. And Rebekah sent and called Esau, and he came to her, and she said to him, I have a request, my son, which I will ask of you. Say that you will do it, my son. And he said, I will do everything which you say to me, and I will not refuse your request. And she said to him, I ask of you on the day when I die that you bring me and bury me near Sarah, your father's mother, and that you and Jacob love one another, and that one will not seek evil for his brother, but only love him. And you will prosper, my sons, and be honored in the midst of the earth, and the enemy will not rejoice over you, and you will become a blessing and a mercy in the sight of all those who love you. And he said, I shall do everything which you have said concerning me, and I shall bury you on the day when you die near Sarah, my father's mother, just as you have desired, so that your bones will be near her bones. And Jacob, my brother, I shall love more than all flesh, and I have no brother in all the earth except him alone. And this is not a great thing for me if I love him, because he is my brother, and together we were sown in your belly, and together we came forth from your womb. And if I do not love my brother, whom shall I love? But I beg of you only that you admonish Jacob concerning my sons, because I know that he will certainly rule over me and my sons, because on the day my father blessed him, he set him above and me beneath. And I swear to you that I will love him, and that I will not seek evil for him all the days of my life, but only good. And he swore to her concerning all of these matters. And she called Jacob in the sight of Esau, and she commanded him according to what she had spoken with Esau. And he said, I will do your pleasure. Trust me that evil will not proceed from me or my sons against Esau, and I will not act first in anything except to love him only. And they ate and they drank, she and her sons, that night. And she died at the age of 3 jubilees and 1 week and 1 year on that night. And her 2 sons, Esau and Jacob, buried her in the cave of Machpelah near Sarah, their father's mother. And in the 6th year of this week, Isaac called his 2 sons, Esau and Jacob. And they came to him, and he said to them, My sons, I am going the way of my fathers to the eternal home where my fathers are. Bury me near Abraham my father, in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron the Hittite, which Abraham acquired for a burial place there. In the tomb which I dug for myself, there bury me. And I am commanding this, my sons, that you might perform righteousness and uprightness upon the earth, so that the Lord will bring upon you everything which the Lord said that he would do for Abraham and for his seed. And among yourselves, my sons, be loving of your brothers, as a man loves himself, and with each man seeking for his brother what is good for him, and acting together on the earth, and loving each other as themselves. And regarding the matter of idols, I command you and admonish you to scorn them and hate them, and not to love them, because they are full of error, for those who worship and bow down to them. Remember, my sons, the Lord, the God of Abraham, your father, and that I subsequently worshipped and served him in righteousness and joy, so that he might multiply you and increase your seed like the stars of heaven, with regard to number, and so that he will plant you on the earth as a righteous planting, which will not be uprooted for all the eternal generations. And now I will make you swear by the great oath, because there is not an oath which is greater than it, but the glorious and honored and great and splendid and amazing and mighty name which created heaven and earth and everything together, that you will fear him and worship him, and that each one will love his brother with compassion and righteousness, and no one will desire evil for his brother, from now and forever, all the days of your lives, so that you will prosper in all your deeds and not be destroyed. And if either of you seeks evil against his brother, know that hereafter each one who seeks evil against his brother will fall into his hands and be uprooted from the land of the living, and his seed will be destroyed from under heaven. And on the day of turmoil and execration and indignation and wrath, then with devouring, burning fire, just as he burned Sodom, so too will he burn up his land and his city, and everything which will be his. And he will be wiped out from the book of the discipline of mankind, and so not be written on high in the book of life. For he is written in one which will be destroyed and pass on to eternal execration, so that their judgment will always be renewed with eternal reproach and execration and wrath and torment, and indignation and plagues and sickness. I have been speaking and exhorting you, my sons, according to the judgment which shall come upon the man who desires to harm his brother. And he divided all his possessions which he had with the two of them on that day, and he gave a larger portion to the one whose birth was first, both the tower and everything which surrounded it, and everything which Abraham acquired at the well of the oath. And he said, I will surely increase this portion for the one whose birth was first. And Esau said, I have sold to Jacob, and I have delivered my right of seniority to Jacob, and so let it be given to him. And there is not anything which I can say concerning it, because it is his. And Isaac said, May a blessing rest upon you and upon your seed this day, my sons, because you have given rest to me, and my heart has not been grieved concerning the right of seniority, lest you act perversely concerning it. May the Lord Most High bless the man who does righteousness, him and his seed forever. And he finished commanding them and blessing them, and they ate and drank together before him. And he rejoiced because they were in mutual agreement. And they went out from him, and they rested that day, and they slept. And Isaac slept on his bed on that day rejoicing, and he slept the eternal sleep. And he died at the age of 180 years. He completed 25 weeks and 5 years, and his two sons, Esau and Jacob, buried him. And Esau traveled to the land of Edom, to the mountain of Seir, and he dwelt there. And Jacob dwelt in Mount Hebron, in the tower of the land of the sojourning of his father Abraham. And he worshipped the Lord with all his heart, and according to the commands which were revealed, and according to the division of the days of his generations. And Leah his wife died in the 4th year of the 2nd week of the 45th Jubilee, and he buried her in the cave of Machpelah near Rebekah his mother, and north of the tomb of Sarah his father's mother. And all of her children and his children went out to weep with him for Leah his wife, and to comfort him concerning her, because he was lamenting her. For he loved her very much after Rachel, her sister, died, since she was perfect and upright in all of her ways. And she honored Jacob, and in all of the days which she lived with him, he never heard a harsh word from her mouth, because she possessed gentleness, peace, uprightness, and honor. And he remembered all of her deeds which she had done in her life, and he lamented greatly for her, because he loved her with all his heart and all his soul. And on the day that Isaac, the father of Jacob and Esau, died, the sons of Esau heard that Isaac had given the right of seniority to Jacob, his younger son. And they were very angry, and they argued with their father, saying, Why, since you are the elder and Jacob the younger, did your father give the right of seniority to Jacob and abandon you? And he said to them, Because I sold my right of firstborn to Jacob for a little dish of lentils. And on the day that my father sent me to hunt and snare and bring to him, so that he might eat and bless me, he went with guile and brought food and drink to my father, and my father blessed him and placed me under his hand.